Good morning. I'm so happy you're joining me today, 2026. This is Viola Ignites, and today we're wrapping up our week-long discussion on courage. And I want to just offer some tips, as I discussed yesterday, on how you can create your courage circle. But before we dive in, I asked you to assess your 5 closest people around you, like assess your circle and have a determination of, does your circle spread fear or does it spread courage? And if you did that audit honestly, I'm sure some of you may have realized that you're surrounded by contamination, not bad people, right? Just people who are not as aware as you are. Not bad people, just people who are afraid. All right. But one thing that we learned so clearly yesterday from Deuteronomy 20, chapter 20, verse 8, is this principle that you can never build victory in a contaminated environment. And so what we are trying to do is intentionally build an environment where courage is going to thrive, where courage can spread. And that's all we're focused on today. We are thinking through some tips so that we can build that circle that would allow us to have great victories and exploits in this season. All right, so just listen out to some tips, and my goal is that something that I mention sparks you in such a way that you can tweak what you already have, and or if you have never thought about having a courage circle, maybe this is the moment that you do so. Number one, let me just define what I'm calling a courage circle. It's not a cheerleading squad. It's not a support group. It's not a prayer group. As much as I believe in those, I believe in prayer groups. I think they're wonderful. I think they're great. If you know me, you know that. But I just want to say that a courage circle is not that. A courage circle is an intentional environment where courage is the fuel. Courage is the contagion. All right. And I want you to limit it to 2 people, 2 or 3 people. So counting you as one person, maybe add 2 more, or counting you as one person, add 1 more, right? So keep them small. So the max that you want to have in a circle is 3 people. You want it to be deliberately chosen, and you all agree that's what it is. This is our courage circle. We are in agreement to have this environment, to meet on this day, to do X, Y, and Z things. And we want to meet for, and give yourself 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and then you will review. So deliberately chosen, a small number of people. All right. And then you want to structure it very deliberately as well. So who should you choose? How I like to think about it is like, you don't want to choose a cheerleader. I know it might sound counterintuitive, but this is what I mean. You want a warrior. Here's the difference. Essentially, a cheerleader is going to be like, woo, woo, you got this, you got this. All right. But a warrior is not that's not how a warrior operates. A warrior is going to say, I know you're terrified. So I'm standing with you. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to shadow you. All right. Um, we're going to take this together. Okay. So it's a different kind of posture that a warrior is going to have. All right. And I think you want your 2 or 3 people, you want them to be in motion. You want people that are making bold moves themselves, not people who are planning. You want people who are doing. You want people who are honest. All right. Integrity is important. And they're not only honest to themselves, they're honest to you. So they can call you out when they need to. If you're stalling, they can call you out. They will not lie to you. Thirdly, you want people who are committed. When you agree we're meeting on this day at this time, they're going to show up consistently, non-negotiable. They are going to show up. This is going to be of such priority that this is going to be a standing appointment in your date book. What should you avoid? I think you want to avoid anyone who is consistently giving like a bad report. Some people are like always negative. You want to avoid those kind of people for your courage circle. I think anyone who kind of sees the world like in terms of like the sky is falling, like every time there's a thunderclap, it's the sky's falling. That's how they interpret their world. You want to avoid that. You don't want that in your courage circle. You want to avoid a person who is very critical or who's like constantly playing devil's advocate. You do not want them in your courage circle. Not at all. So basically, you want your courage circle to be protected. You don't want a contaminant in your courage circle. So be mindful of that. How should you structure it? I recommend that you meet either weekly or every other week, but I think monthly is too far apart. You want to do 30 minutes or 45, probably not more. So like a standing meeting where everybody's giving their updates. Okay. You want to calendar it like it's an appointment. It's not like when the appointment comes, people are texting each other like, are we meeting today? No, like everybody's serious about it. So it's non-negotiable. You calendar it. You determine the time. And then here are some tips on the structure. If it's 30 minutes, I think you can split it into 3 parts. Part 1, everybody does a brief or debrief on their ignited bold move. So you're reporting on the bold move that you took. Let's say it's 3 people, 10 minutes. That's about 3 minutes each. So that you talk about, what did you execute? This is the bold move I made. This is the ignited move I made. What did you execute last week or 2 weeks ago? And emphasis on what actually got done as opposed to what was planned, as opposed to what was thought about, what actually got done. So we want to talk about execution. So everybody report. So no fluff, just facts only, no hype, no vibes, facts only. Okay. In the second segment, second set of 10 minutes, you could spend that time naming the fear or the self-doubt or the apprehension around the thing you're working on. And so everybody could do that, because you know that when you confront a fear, when you name a fear, it loses its power. And I think it's even exponential when it's in a group setting. So it's more than one person, you're saying it specifically, you're saying it out loud in front of witnesses. It really loses its power, right? And you can harness the courage of your group. You could borrow belief from your group. You could partner in faith from your group. Okay. And then the last 10 minutes, everybody commits to what's next. What's the next move for the next week or the next segment of time you all are not going to be in touch, and speak it out loud. Let your courage circle witness what your intentions are. And then lastly, I just want to give some tips about how to sustain your group. So this is a tip. You want to borrow courage from each other. So when somebody's courage fails, you want to hold space for them, acknowledge what's going on, and be that resource, that pillar. So I know when we talked about the example yesterday, um, with the prescription that the people who are afraid should go home so they don't mess up the rest of the troops. I want you to just think about the fact that your courage circle is for you to protect your courage, right? So the courageous ones are protecting each other's courage. You're not contaminating each other with fear. You're protecting the courage that you already have, the courage in terms of the belief that this goal, this project, this desire is accomplishable by you. So you've determined that you're not going to contaminate each other with fear. You're going to recognize each other's bold moves, and you're going to lock arms with each other when you see fear raise its head. You're going to allow the person to name it. You're going to allow the person to confront it and deal with it, so that the fear is not suppressed, the fear is confronted, is overcome. So those are the tips that I have. Those are the tips that I have for you. And I think maybe the last tip I could put here is create a culture of recognition, because recognizing each other's wins, it really fills y'all's tanks. So create a culture where you recognize each other's wins. Like, that was a win. Okay. That was a win. I see you and I'm proud of you. And you did that. That's so helpful. So helpful to really cultivate a culture of affirmation, a culture of honor. And I think it also preserves the group. All right. So your assignment today is quite simple. Reach out to the people you're thinking about. Reach out to the person you're thinking about. Send them a text now and set up a meeting for next week. And just explain to them what I've said, or better yet, send them a link to this episode and say, let's talk about this. I would love for us to have a courage circle. I want us to do it weekly or bi-weekly. I want us to do 30-minute check-ins. I really think we could harness each other's strengths and schedule your first meeting. Schedule your first meeting for next week. So yeah, that's all I have for you. I will see you tomorrow on the live show. Again, my guest is going to be Stella Iheanacho. It promises to be a great, 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 great show. Please join me. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.